Welcome to the Prepare Like a Pro podcast. Every week I host live chats via our YouTube channel with leaders in the AFL and high performance industries. Join me live every Sunday at 6 p.m. where I debrief the recent chats and announce the upcoming guests. We drop an inspiring and educational episode every Monday. If you like the show, please follow us on your favourite podcast app. Welcome back to the Prepare Like a Pro podcast. This week on the show we have Belle Dawes, an inside midfielder for the Brisbane Lions AFLW team. Dawes is from Maroochydore on the Sunshine Coast and is a Lions Academy product. She's a dynamic inside midfielder that finished second in the agility test at the National Combine. In 2019, in the AFLW Draft, she was picked with the first selection for the Brisbane Lions, number 15 overall. She made her debut last season in round 1 clash against the Adelaide Crows. And before we start episode 58, the Prepare Like a Pro podcast mission is to empower aspiring athletes and staff with practical knowledge from some of the industry's most inspiring individuals and to strengthen the AFL community. If you like the show, please show your support by following us on Instagram and subscribing to our iTunes, Spotify and YouTube podcast. Bear with me, guys. Thanks for tuning in. I'm just going to invite Belle to join us now. There we go. How you going, Belle?
How you doing? What's up?
Yeah, going well. Yourself?
Pretty good. This is my first live, so how cool is that?
Oh, welcome aboard. Very cool.
Yeah.
You've done well. That was a seamless transition.
I was waiting for it to pop. I was refreshing, so yeah, here I am.
Thank you for joining us, and we've got some of your followers coming on right now. So as they do, we'll take us through a bit of an intro. At what age did you start playing footy? And then when did you recognise you had a talent to take it to the AFL, the highest level?
So I started playing when I was 9 in Victoria with the boys. And obviously, you stop at 13 when you're a girl. And that's when we moved to Queensland with my family. And then it wasn't until I think it was 13, I started playing with girls, and then the AFLW season 1 started, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is actually something I can do. Like, it's not just a dream, it could actually be a reality. So when I was turned 13 and that first season started, it was like, well, this is possible. But before that, it was like, since I was 9 years old, it was there. So yeah.
And who introduced you to footy? Do you have siblings? Is it your parents, mates? Who first introduced you to the game?
Yeah, so I started, I played with my brother. I was always better than him, just keep that on the side. I was 9, but all my friends, like in Victoria, it's so obviously, but it's very AFL. So at school, everyone plays footy. So I always played footy with the boys at lunch, played Monkers Up. So I was just like, let my brother signing up, I'll sign up with him, and then, so from the family, I guess.
Yeah. Older brother or younger brother?
Younger, but
yeah.
Okay,
so you showed him the ropes.
Oh, I showed him up. Honestly, that's what I did. But yeah.
Well played. And take us through your progression. So you mentioned you stopped playing at 13. Did you start playing other sports at that age?
So I played tennis until I was about 13 as well, which was good. I played that for about 3 years, and I played basketball up till I finished school, which was really good. Like, really loved basketball, and I feel like that's helped me so much with footy, like just game awareness, like zones, my footwork, like my vision. But so I played those two, but footy's always been the favourite. And Mum's always said to me, you're gonna have to pick one day. You're gonna have to pick between basketball or footy, and I'm like, I'm picking footy, but rode out playing basketball for as long as I could. So,
okay. So you knew footy was always the one, and then you mentioned earlier, as soon as the AFLW came to life at 13, is that when you like, all right, that's what I'm going for, that's what I'm going to work towards?
Yeah, and it wasn't until when I was in Queensland and I went through the regionals and then through the academies, Queensland, I was like, it's so reachable, we basically get into the system and then got taken the whole way through, which was really cool. Like, even through the National Academy, NAB Combine, just went the whole way through, and it was really cool. But yeah.
Fantastic. No, well done. And How have you found the transition from academy and regional level, obviously that's playing at a high level, to playing at the highest level at AFL?
I reckon game-wise, there is no time. Like, even from Quaffle academies, when you go to AFLW, there's just so much less time. Like, I'm used to having all the time in the world, not all the time, but yeah, the jump to how fast it is really shocked me. And even just the training load, obviously you train way more nights, but just the intensity, like shorter drills, like do drills for a short amount of time, and you do them really intense. So yeah, the intensity lifted, and just how fast the game was played was the biggest things that I noticed. So yeah.
Yeah, okay. So the speed of the game, how do you work on that for developing footballers that are maybe at that age, 13, 14, 15? What are some of the ways that you can work on your reactive ability and your quick feet and that sort of thing? Skills.
I think, like I said, like the intensity really lifted when I went to AFLW. So I think I've been doing a lot of coaching now, and one thing I'm really trying to drive is the intensity. Like, it doesn't matter what kind of drill it is, like put pressure on yourselves, like try to make each other better. I feel like that's something that can lift, that I've only just noticed through coaching, and I do it training as well, like try to lift the intensity of the drill. So if this is a drill, how can we make it harder? How can we make it better? How can we get more out of it, kind of thing. So, yeah.
And what would be some of the ways? Yeah, you got mates.
I'm just looking at the comments. Comments.
Yeah. You can easily you can easily get distracted.
Yeah.
You're doing well, though.
Thanks, everyone, for sharing out.
Getting plenty of love, which is always nice. So you mentioned that increasing intensity, which is a great point, and it's great that you're in the coaching world now, because you've got that special ability of understanding what it's like being a player from a player's point of view. So it must really help you coaching. So you mentioned intensity. On that topic, what are some of your ways as a coach or even as an athlete, when you're trying to increase your intensity? What are you focusing on when you're doing a drill and you want to lift it, or when you're coaching, how do you encourage the athletes to lift that intensity? What are you focusing on?
So even as a player, personally, when I'm training, I'm always trying to talking, building up the vibe. I feel like that's just the one thing, like anyone can do it, everyone can do it. If you're not moving around in the drill, you can talk, you can chat, encourage. And I think like as a player, you can drive the drill. So you know how sometimes it might fumble out and everyone kind of just waits for the coach to blow the whistle. It's like, nah, get it back in, still in. So I think just keep going, like take a bit of leadership and just control the drill. Don't rely on the coaches, like take that next step. And as a coach, I'm trying to explain that to players, which is obviously like hard to teach, which I've learned now. But so I'll be, for example, this is how you can talk, this is what you're going to be saying while you're standing in line. Like the drill's what you make it. So that's
I love that. So that
way I see it. Yeah.
It's really focusing on the mindset and the intent that the athletes are bringing to that drill. And like you said, that's a great point. Don't rely on the coaches. Like, you've got to drive it. Why is for someone listening that, you know, it is a team sport, you need to be coachable, but why is it so important that athletes drive some of the culture and intensity in drills?
Yeah, because I feel like a coach can say something, and as a player you can be like, oh yeah, I'll do that. But if I look to my right or to my left and my player is doing something, or they're like, come on girls, like lifting, I'm like, yep, like that's my peer, you know. If she's doing that, I'm going to jump along with her, you know. I feel like it's a bit of a difference. Obviously we listen to coaches, we listen to players, but it's a lot different when you see a player next to you doing something or trying to bring you along with them. It's like, of course I'm going to go with you because I don't want to get left behind. And that's the whole group will follow. So when you've got girls in the team doing stuff like that, everyone jumps on board with it. Like, I'll jump on board. I'm like, girls follow me or don't, you know. So that's kind of team sport.
Fantastic. Yeah, I love that. That's great for anyone listening, really. Okay, and you mentioned the vibe. What are some things that you do to increase if the mood's down? Maybe you're coming off a loss. Where do you try and change that? Is it in the warm-up? Is it in the drills? How do you go about changing the vibe of training or even game day?
Yeah, I think, for Lions, at Lions State our last year, we come off a win or we come off a loss, it's still the same. I think it's what are we focusing on next? And it's kind of like, feel this, like, you know, kind of suss out the whole game. Like, we lost. How does this feel? This is what we did good. This is what we did bad. All right, what do we got to do next week? Or we come off a win. How good does this feel? This is what we did good. This is what we can still improve. What do we got to do next week? So, yeah, I think the vibe is always just like, for games, you know, afterwards, what are we focusing on next? Like, what can we do to get better? And if it's at training, it's bring it in, the vibe's down, let's get it up. That's the last we need to speak about it, kind of thing. But yeah, I feel like it doesn't matter if it's win-loss, it's what are we got to do next? How can we improve? If it's training, like, this is the vibe, let's lift it. You know, this isn't good enough. But yeah.
Yeah. So there's always something you're focusing on that you can do better, but also recognising what you're doing well.
Yeah.
That's a really good philosophy. And then that way you're not getting too carried away with yourself. With a win, you still focus on areas that you can do better.
Yeah, win or loss.
Very good.
There's always room to improve, obviously. But yeah, even on a loss, there's things you did good. On a loss, there's still things you did good. So yeah, I think it's just like soak up the feeling and then let's get to work the next day. No, let's get to work with recovery, basically. That's kind of how it goes. But
yeah. So you're focusing on what's in front of you. And you mentioned you're into coaching. That was actually how we organised the podcast through Enhanced Football.
So
how did you come on with coaching? How did the coaching hat come on?
Yeah, so it was through the Enhanced Footy with Ben. He coached me last pre-season, and really helped me with my skills and fitness. And then he's like, hey, I just came along to his camp, a few of his camps, really enjoyed it. And he's like, hey, like, do you want to start coaching? And I'm like, oh yeah, we'll give it a go. And I'm like, really enjoyed it. So I did an assistant coach for him for the Lions Academy, the under-17s, and then I just help him, and I do a few private lessons through his business, and I love it. It's really cool. I was really nervous at the start, and I'm just learning so much. And yeah, which is what we're talking about now, is what I've really noticed is like the intensity. I'm like, wow, can't wait to go back to training and show the coaches this. Like, it's pretty cool. So yeah, it started with him at Enhanced Footy. Yeah, loving it. I had a session tonight with a few girls, so it was awesome. But yeah.
And what does it look like for those listening up north that are in Queensland? No doubt there's a few tuned in, or some that are listening to the recording of this podcast. How do you get in touch with you as a coach, and how can you start working with you?
So obviously through Enhanced, there's the link in that bio. But even if, like, I'm always on Instagram, not really, but when I am, I'm checking my DMs, and I'll see it, I'll hit you up. But otherwise, through Enhanced, hit the link. You know, let's have a session. If you like it, great. If you don't, you'll take something away. Promise. Definitely. Yeah. So
fantastic. Cool. And we'll go back to your journey. So take us through draft night. You're at part of the Brisbane Academy. You're the first pick. Did you have a good hunch that you were going to Brisbane? And what was the feeling like when you heard that you were?
Yeah. So I went down to the draft with Lil Poss. Like, she's my best friend, which was good.
Yep.
And we were sitting there, so I knew I was getting picked up, which was exciting. I was so nervous because I couldn't tell anyone, so I was so excited. And I knew I was going to Brisbane. I wanted to go to Brisbane. Like, obviously going through the Lions Academy, you know, you see the Brisbane girls. Craig was my coach for Queensland, so you know, like, that's where my heart felt like that's where I need to go. Like, this is home to me now, Queensland. So wanted to go there. Knew I was going there. When they called the name, it was like I knew everything was there. But when they called my name, I'm still like, oh my goodness, what can I say to my, oh my god, like I said, I literally knew I was going to get drafted. I wanted to go there, but when they call your name out, it's a different feeling. So pretty crazy.
We'll be right back after this short break to explain our most popular coaching program. I want to introduce you to Prepare Like a Pro Individualised. You'll train like a true professional with an intelligently designed program. We ensure everything is covered to optimally prepare yourself for game day. This premium package is for those that want a personal coach in their corner. The individualisation starts with an in-depth questionnaire to really understand your goals and where you need support. Your coach will then tailor your program to suit around your school, work and sporting schedule. We will derive a Get Better plan, the GBP, which will be a step-by-step progression to help you achieve your dreams of elite performance. The GPP program takes a holistic approach. We focus on individualised running and gym work to help make you the strongest and fastest version of you. as well as a comprehensive lifestyle coaching around nutrition, sleep, and stress management. We use objective measures such as GPS, your technique footage, and gym loads to provide you with progress reports. You'll be learning from our presentations, taking food diaries, tracking your sleep, and learning how to nail your recovery. Our multifaceted approach aims to build you into the best athlete you can be, allowing you to change direction quicker, jump higher, run faster, and repeat high-intensity efforts for longer. Overall, you'll become more focused on the field and resilient to injury. Ultimately, if you want to prepare like a pro, this is the package for you. Head to our Inquire Now page and we will contact you today.
And to get to that point, to get drafted, you've mentioned some names already with Ben at Hands Footy and Craig, but who are some other people that have influenced your career?
Yeah, obviously my family. So yeah, it's just my mum is really big inspiration, and yeah, I'm living with my brother and sister, and like they just support me, you know what I mean? Like mum's pretty, you know, like fangirl, like, oh, you did great. I'm like, no, I didn't. I did this wrong. She's like, no, I loved it. And you know, my brother's always getting the, oh, your sister, your Belle's brother. Like that's what he gets, and my little sisters just kind of tags along. But yeah. They always support me, and like, you know, the whole, your parents drive you everywhere. Well, they'd have to come along for the weekend, my brother and sister, you know. So, yeah, it is them. Like, we're not crazy. They're not crazy about footy, but they love me and they support me, and like that's what's more inspiring than that, you know. Yeah.
Yeah, fantastic. Shout out to your family and your parents.
Shout out to the fam. Yeah.
Shout to the fam.
Better be watching this.
There you go. He's tuned in. And this last couple of seasons, how are you going with your footy? How's the body going now that you've had, been playing, and take us through what you're currently focusing on with your footy.
Yep. So my first season, that was the other shock. It was training, was the conditioning. I struggled. I got through it, but I dreaded it every time. So that was a big thing I noticed with my body. I'm like, wow, I need to get a lot fitter. And that's obviously what Enhanced Football helped me with. Ben helped me with. And off season just worked really hard with my cardio. And then this season I felt like I did like better than my first one. Like felt a lot more confident. I did better. Felt better. I felt fitter. Got to conditioning, got to pre-season. I was like, I can get through it. Like it's still hard, but I'm not
dreading as much.
Yeah.
So take us through, for those that are listening that may have experienced that, they've stepped up their game, they're playing at a high level, and they're dreading the conditioning, and they just didn't have a great time during pre-season, and maybe that flowed on into their season. How do you make the most in your off-season? You mentioned you got a coach in Ben. Mm-hmm. What type of things were you doing to improve your fitness?
Yeah, well, we were doing lots of hill sprints, lots of 2K, like 1K on resting, like effort, repeat, like interval kind of running. But I think just any advice is whether it's your coach or strength and conditioning, just message them like, this is what I'm struggling at, this is what I want to get better at. Because I know for me, like I'm really good at one effort, and then repeating that effort is something I'm struggling with. Like I still want that to improve. So like I say to Ben, or I say to my strength and conditioning coach, I'm like, hey, well, this is what I want to get better at. How can I get better at it? And they'll load you up with something. But otherwise, like, I mean, you could Google it, depending if you're at club. Just say, how can I get better at this kind of running, long distance or short running, and then see what happens with that. But I feel like it's whatever works better with you. Like for me, it was getting smashed repeatedly, like doing hill sprints, or just doing a real, like every day I was just kind of doing something to destroy my body, but then recovering it. So like it's different for everyone, but I feel like I just did something every day that was going to be better, like make myself better. At the end of the day, I was better than yesterday, and that really reflected. But like throughout my journey now, I need to get stronger. So I got really fit and fast, but now I need to get heavier and bigger in the gym. So that's where now I'm like, to my coach, I'm like, hey, like, what do I need to work on to get stronger? And he goes, this is what you're going to do now. And I'm like, cool, let's go.
Yeah, so it's a constant journey, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Especially all positions are challenging and have their own demands physically, but the inside midfield position that you play, it can take a few pre-seasons under your belt to, like you said, you've got to be fast. So those first few steps, but then you've got to repeat it over your 4 quarters. And then now the phase you're in now, you build that repeatability and you don't want to get bashed around all the time. There's big bodies, it's just a game. So it can take some time, and it's great to hear from someone like yourself that's going through it. So you did a lot of high intensity repeat efforts, hard work in the off season, and you mentioned that helped you in preparing for a good pre-season. Did you find your confidence grew within the group as well because you were able to do better in the pre-season?
Yeah, and especially like I said before, when your teammates do something, you follow them. Well, my teammates noticed that about me, which gave me a lot of confidence. Like they could see I worked hard, and they obviously they're all older, like I'm still young, and I was like, wow, that's nice that they noticed, and they really like I felt a lot of respect. Yeah, I felt respected from them, and even the coaches knew. Like they said it at the end of pre-season after we got through it all, like we noticed you did really good, or they'd shout out like, hey, PB on this 2K, and it gives you that confidence, which transitions into the footy. So
I'm glad you mentioned that. The team dynamics. It's actually something that's not talked about a lot on this podcast, but it's very important. How you fit in with your team and you respect that trust you built with your team, both strategy but also work rate. So you felt a bit of a shift when you worked your butt off in the off season, and then throughout the pre-season you noticed a difference in the team dynamics with you and your place in the team.
Yeah, 100%. Like I just them recognizing that I did that, and like at training, like they'd get around me for that. It was really awesome. And obviously, like this year we had a really like our team, like our like sisterhood, which is what we call it. Oh, it was just so everyone kind of got around it, and then everyone wants to be better. Everyone's working hard. Everyone's encouraging each other. It's just a really good environment to train in. So yeah, it was a really good set. I'm going into the season now, obviously, because why not? But it was a great season, and the conditioning, like getting through it all with people like beside you, it was just it was cool. I don't even know where I'm going with this. I'm just thinking about pre-season again, and I'm just getting taken back. But it was awesome. I'm actually really excited to do it all again. But
yeah. And then how did you guys find your sisterhood and that bond? Was that an intention? How did you find it? Did that come about through structure, or it sort of just come naturally?
I feel like it came pretty naturally. Obviously, it grew, like it was just constantly going up. But we sat down and like everyone went through their values. What do we what do we value basically? And like that's what we brought together. And it's like we're actually going to do this. Like, do we actually value this? If we don't, like, we may as well not put it up. And that was one of the biggest things. Like what falls under sisterhood, trust. Like we're a family, like we're with each other more than some of our own families. So like that was a big thing, and we really like drove it, and we really did it and felt it, and it was even an awesome way to finish it off the season. And it was I reckon it was because of that. So
yeah, amazing. And what about now? What's your focus with your training? You mentioned the weight side of things. What does that look like?
Yeah, so we're obviously finishing our quaffle season, Queensland. So we've got Maroochydore. We just won our semi, so hopefully I've got 2 more weeks left of quaffle, and then a bit of a break, give the body a little break, and then I'm following what they give me, because I have no idea about gym or running stuff, but when they give it to me, I'm like, yep, cool, this is what we're doing. Yep, just follow what they give me, basically.
Yep. And, okay, so so take us through that. How did the AFLW and the Maroochydore Quaffle League, how did that work? Like, when did you start playing for Maroochydore? Was that directly after?
Directly after. So I think I had 2 weeks off. They set it out different for all of us players. It's kind of depending on your age, injuries, what you wanted to do, and so it was more the younger ones got to play. Like, play as many as you want, play as many as you can. If not, have a chat to us. It's all about how we're feeling. Like, we know our bodies more. And I was like, want to play as many games as I can. And so I just had I think I had 1 week off after the season, maybe 2, and just got straight back into it. When I went to training a week after, and that because they were halfway through the season, and then started the second week, which was fun. So haven't had a break yet, which is pretty cool, but I don't really want to.
No, you're playing finals. Why would you stop?
Yeah, honestly, let's go for 2.
Two from 2. What a year. Fantastic.
Yeah.
Okay, very good. And where are you playing inside mid with Maroochydore as well?
Yeah. mid, just rotating forward, but I like the middle better. I get to the border, I have a little break. I'm like, I'm ready to go back to the middle. Send me back. So, yeah. Love the middle.
And
always have.
How have you found that, like preparing for an AFLW season and then playing at a lower level? What differences have you noticed? Like, you mentioned the speed and how much of it is an increase. Now that you're coming down I imagine the game's not as fast. How are you finding that transfer?
It's obviously it's going to be different, and it is different. But I feel like when myself and Shannon Campbell, I also played with her at Maroochydore, like we came back to training, and I think like we didn't even speak about it, but we both were like, well, this intensity needs to lift at training. And I felt like we brought that, and the girls, like I said, they just took it and like come along with us, which is really good. So I don't know how the training was before that, but I've had girls tell me like, you really lifted it, like, and that's really good. Like,
awesome.
Us too, and that was really good. So that's kind of how I'm going. I'm just trying to bring girls along. I'm like, hey, like this is what we did in the midfield for Lions, or let's try this. And they've really like taken that on board. And I feel like the game's changed a little bit since we've jumped back in the mix, which is pretty good. Just mixed up the dynamic and just brought back some new ideas, which is good. But yeah, I'm just trying to bring intensity and be like, hey girls, this is how we do it. Like, let's try to lift it up here. Let's play like this. It doesn't matter about who gets the most disposals. Let's work together and try to get it out, kind of thing. So yeah, just bring back a different perspective and more energy.
How did you and Shannon go about that when you both were aware that the intensity could improve? Did you go to the leadership group? Did you go to the coach? Like,
honestly, we just did it. We just did it. Like, Shannon and I are both very like lead by example. I'm a lot louder than Shannon, but I see Shannon doing stuff, I'm like, whoa, and then I lift, and then she lifts me, and you even got a coach at the end of one of the drills saying, Shannon and Belle are the only ones still going like, this is how we need to train girls, and it's like, oh, you're like, oh yeah, and it kind of just points that out. So
you got to see it.
I think that's just the difference is just in training, but the thing is like when they see it and when they're around it, they grab onto it and come along with us, which is really good. So yeah, it's been fun to bring that back and bring everyone along with me. So yeah.
Yeah, well done. And it's obviously working. You guys are did you say semi-final this week?
Yeah, we just won our semi-final. So
won your semi-final.
Yeah, we're playing. Yep. So prelim this week.
Yeah.
It's cross grading. Yeah.
Yeah, fantastic. Very, very exciting. Well, very good. Well, we'll start to wrap it up. We'll focus on this year. So you've got a couple more weeks, hopefully, of this season and win a grand final, and then it'll be off-season time where you mentioned you'll trust the process and you'll have a program from Ben and the strength and conditioning coaches at the Lions. What will, from a football point of view, what will be your focus for the upcoming pre-season going into next year's AFLW?
Yeah, I think because my cardio season was, off season was so good last year. Keep that, lift it a little bit, but I'm gonna, like I said, focus on getting a bit stronger, getting a bit more muscle on me because I am pretty short. I don't know how I look on the screen right now, but yeah, I'm a pretty little human, so I try to get some more size and just keep that cardio fitness up. But yeah, and then get ready to go and get it pre-season. I just want to be ready. Just be ready for pre-season. Not nothing too extreme. Just gonna keep the load, lift it a little bit with cardio, and just get stronger in the gym. So that's for me. But yeah.
And how often will you train in the off season? Like a week, including your football, your gym work. How many times do you train in the week?
So we got about 2 gyms and about 3 to 4 running. But if you mix that in with training, it's kind of you got a day off. You got a day off in there.
And you've got your coaching that you do as well. Are there other things that you do outside of footy?
Yeah, so I work at I like to skate, so I work at a little indoor skate park in Coolum, which is pretty cool. And so I like doing that, but got to be careful with that because obviously I don't want to get injured. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Yeah, and then I just work in a bar, and the coaching's pretty cool. So I'm just floating around and going to the beach, drinking coffee.
Yeah, nice.
Just living the sunny coast life, living a pretty cruisy life up in the sunny coast. Yeah, pretty fun.
Yeah, very good. Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thanks so much for catching up with me, Belle, and awesome to hear the season you're having. Hopefully another grand final is around the corner for you, and all the best with everything you're doing, coaching the developing footballers, lifting the standards with your teammates, and all the best for the rest of your career.
Legend. Thanks so much for having me. It was really awesome. While I was waiting, I was looking at your Instagram, looking at everyone you had. I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm on here, so that's cool. Thanks for hitting me up.
No, likewise. Thanks for coming on, and thanks for sharing all your stories and what's worked for you as well. It's been massively valuable, not just for me, but I'm sure everyone that's tuned in. So thanks, Belle.
Hope someone took something from that, and if you didn't, it's all good. Thanks for listening.
I'm sure they will.
Yeah, sweet. Easy as. Have a good night.
You too. Thanks, Belle.
If you enjoyed this episode and want even more, our Academy is for you. The Prepare Like a Pro Academy is a platform that hosts exclusive features and bonus content, such as a Q&A segment aimed at getting to know the guests on a more personal level. Here's an example with Emily Meehan, head sports dietitian at the Collingwood Football Club.
What are things that fire you up?
Oh, this one is always, so I suppose it is, it'll be topical for most people, I think, but staying in your lane. And I often find that with nutrition, everyone eats, so everyone has an opinion. And I think that's what really gets me fired up, because so many people try and provide nutrition advice based on their N of 1 experience when they did intermittent fasting or keto or whatever it might be. And then
game changes, I'm sure
game changes, whatever that might be. And look, it probably keeps me in a job, but that it does drive me insane, because sometimes the information can be so detrimental and opposite to what I've been working with my athlete or athletes, and and because they hear it on someone's socials or through a documentary, it unravels everything that I've been working with an athlete for.
Another feature of our Academy is the opportunity each week to join myself as co-host on the Prepare Like a Pro live chat show. Here's an example with Academy member Rama Davies as strength and conditioning coach at the Box Hill Hawks.
Welcome, Rama, to the chat. Rama has also worked at Box Hill, or currently he's working at Box Hill Hawks with us. Awesome. So he's another Box Hill man in the strength and conditioning department. So I'll handle it over to you, Rama, to ask your question, mate. Thanks for joining us.
Excellent. Thanks, Jack. And thanks Sam for the chat. It was I found it to be really insightful, plenty of gems in there, and I enjoyed it a lot. Mate, my question to you was, you spoke quite a bit about perspective during that chat, and I was wondering, what are some of the things that you either know or do physically that you wish you either knew or did back at the beginning of your career? What are some of those things?
Good question. So I suppose with perspective on life, that sort of point, it certainly has been massive for me now, and didn't probably have that as much when I was younger. I suppose one thing I might mention is gratitude. I spend a lot of my time doing a lot of gratitude exercises, listening to podcasts, doing a journal every day, just to say what I'm grateful for, sort of 3 things. And that's a fantastic way that I've been able to reset and just kind of gain that gratitude and perspective about, that there is more to life than football, or, might be whatever, as an S&C coach, if something's, you're having a hard time, it can be massive with just, opening your eyes a little bit and losing that sort of tunnel vision, or being stuck in that work bubble. So that's been huge. I think I wish back then, when I was younger, I asked more questions and was a bit more open to different things. I think I was a bit single-minded back then, and I thought there was one way of doing things, and if I kind of didn't have that fear of asking a silly question, or fear of judgment, it would have got me a lot further, and I probably would have learned a lot quicker. Being open to sort of different things, because you never know what you might find. It's just, there's so many people, great people out there, knowledgeable people to learn off.
And there's plenty more where that came from. If you would like to learn more, then enter patreon.com/preparelikeapro, or head to the link in our show notes. Thank you for listening to the Prepare Like a Pro podcast. If you like this episode, it'd be a massive help if you could like, follow, rate, give a review, or even share with your mates. The show is recorded in Melbourne, Australia. Be sure to follow our Instagram page for all updates on our latest and greatest. If you would like to get in touch to suggest a guest or advertise with the Prepare Like a Pro podcast, please email me at jack@preparelikeapro.com. Thanks so much for tuning in.